Hello everyone, it is I, Logan, and today we are going to be getting into my LEGO Star Wars 2022 summer set ideas. Now the reason we're getting started so early with this list is because we already have rumors for next summer as of November 2021. So we have ones like the Boba's Palace, which is supposed to be $99 with confirmed Boba Fett, Fennec Shand, and a Rancor with a total of 6 figures. It's at 75325, which is going to be around $70 and is likely to be a Republic fighter tank. And also, rumor has it that in January of 2022, they're going to be displaying some summer sets at a toy convention in the UK, which means we're going to be seeing these likely very early on in January next year. Now, on this list, I am going to be giving ideas for the things we are expecting, and not as many re-releases, so if they do a re-release, that's really not something we could foresee. But I'm going to go with my best gut guesses and base it off of the format of the last series. With that said, remember to subscribe and hit the bell. We are gunning for 25,000 subscribers, and we are so incredibly close. Every subscription would help me out a metric ton. We are so close. With that said, we're going to get right on into it. Now, our first set is $19.99. This is the Duel set for next summer, and this is going to be the Duel over the Child. I wasn't exactly sure what to call this, but basically, this would be the Din Djarin or the Mandalorian versus Moff Gideon. Now, we obviously got Moff Gideon and Din Djarin in the Moff Gideon light cruiser last year, or this year, technically still. And then, I thought it would make perfect sense for them to make Moff Gideon in a cheap set and put it in just a duel set like the ones we've seen in the past. Obviously an iconic scene where Mando and Moff Gideon fight for the child or Grogu. Now this set could also possibly include Grogu, and I think it would make sense actually. Now this build would probably be the prison cell that he is in, and a few features I was thinking was obviously like the little spinning feature for them to fight on, as well as some clips possibly, and an area under the bench that Grogu has to sit on just to store weapons or whatever. Now the clips could hold things like the variety of Mando's accessories, because he has a lot of them in this particular episode, so that would obviously be necessary, and things along those lines. Now, next up at $49.99, we have the Speeder Chase over Coruscant. Now, obviously, this was a scene from Attack of the Clones, and with this being the 20th anniversary of Attack of the Clones, and just a long overdue set. Now, a lot of others have speculated this, so I wanted to throw my hat in the ring here, but obviously this would include a brand new Sam Wessel. We have not gotten one in a long time, in fact, so long that the last one had a yellow head, and then obviously Obi-Wan and Anakin Skywalker from the movie. And then we'd also obviously get some new speeder builds. I thought $50 made sense because each of them would be like a $25 value type build. If you look at speeder sets like the Luke Skywalker's land speeder or things along those lines, those are all going for around $25. So I thought it made sense to do it like that. And let's get into the next one. Now, next up at $39.99, we have the Bad Batch Trench Battle. Now, much like the 2019 20th Anniversary ATRT Defense, this will be based off of the opening scene of the Bad Batch Season 1. I think this set would be great if it came with a regular ATRT, probably in the plain gray colors. And then we also could get a E-Web turret. That seems like a pretty easy basic one we saw in that battle. And even a trench build, much again like that 2019 set. Now the figures I think would be great for this set would be the Clone Trooper Hunter from the Bad Batch, Depa Billaba, who is a much needed Jedi and I would love to see. And could also possibly be Caleb Dune. We'd have to wait and see. And then the big one I'd obviously like to see from this would be Commander Gray from that opening episode. And then 2 battle droids would also make a ton of sense. Now, again, there's a lot of subbing in you could do here. You could throw in clones, like the Phase 2 Clone Trooper, or Wrecker, or something along those lines. It doesn't really matter too much. All of it would obviously be great. And obviously, I want to throw something Bad Batch, because chances are, even if we don't get something from Bad Batch Season 1, we're almost certainly going to get something from Bad Batch Season 2, which is next year. Now, let's get into the next one. This one has been on nearly every predictions list, because it kind of baffles me that LEGO still has not made it. But I feel like this summer it would make a ton of sense. I think it would have made more sense last summer, but hey, better late than never. This would be in the same category as like the Bo-Katan Starfighter, and this would be a $59.99 Captain Rex's Y-Wing Starfighter. Now, again, obviously long overdue. The Clone Wars came out in 2020. It will be 2022, so 2 years overdue. But obviously, this was an essential set from that series. I feel like this could be the last Clone Wars set, and everyone would be, somewhat content with that. Now, the figures included would obviously be a Phase to Captain Rex. A much needed minifigure would be absolutely fantastic. Everyone's been waiting for one, and this would be the perfect time to do so. Obviously, throw in another Ahsoka just makes a ton of sense. A 332nd Trooper seems like an easy one, and if they want to throw in an extra droid, they could throw in Ahsoka's R7 droid. And also, obviously, and this one's very unlikely, but I would love to see a ARC Trooper Jesse. That would be fan-freaking-tastic to get like exclusive head printing and everything. That would just be the best Clone Trooper minifigure probably ever. I would just love to see ARC Jesse. However, unlikely, but I wanted to throw it out there because why not? Now, next up at $49.99, we have the U-Wing Starfighter. Now, this is because we are getting the Andor show next year. Now, I believe that is coming out after June, which is when these sets are purportedly coming out. So, you know, I just figured they'd probably do something based off of just Rogue One, a scaled-down U-Wing, kind of like the scaled-down Slave One. And, you know, this is just a good time to put out a new one. We haven't gotten one since 2016. So, obviously, the figures included would be Cassian, and then I also put down one of the blue jumpsuit Rebel pilots and a Shore Trooper. Those are the troopers we know, or the characters we know will likely be in the show. They could also do one based on Rogue One where they just do Cassian, K2SO, and Jyn. I think that would be fine, too. I wouldn't be opposed to that. But yeah, I really hope that we see something for Cassian show, because that's probably going to be a cool show, and I'm sure it's going to be full of plenty of surprises. Now, next up at $100 will be the GR75 Transport. Now, this was the Rebel Transport seen in episodes 5 and 6. I know another original trilogy set, but first off, we have not gotten this one before, and second off, this one is one from the Battle of Hoth and Empire Strikes Back. So I feel like it makes a ton of sense for LEGO to finally do it. I think it fits great in the category of the ones alongside, like the Resistance ITS Transport. It would like basically be that kind of structured set. Now, this would include, in my opinion, for figures, Princess Leia C-3PO, a Rebel pilot, and General Riken, or Recon. I'm not 100% sure what his name is. But those are all Hoth people. I just think that makes a ton of sense. Maybe even a Hoth soldier if they want to push their luck. $100 seems like a perfectly reasonable deal. I would love to see LEGO finally do one of these Rebel ships. They have been very lackluster in terms of the Rebel fleet, in terms of non-Starfighter ships like these, the Mon Calamaris, or the Nebulon Bs. Which brings me into our next one, the $159.99 Acclamator ship. Now, obviously, this is very unlikely. I just wanted to throw it out. There's a possibility because, again, Attack of the Clones Anniversary. This is arguably the most iconic ship from that movie, if not, you know, the prequels. I know a lot of people will say the Venator, and I think as time has gone on, it's probably the Venator. But this one is certainly very high up there. Now, this would have, obviously, like 2 to 3 rooms. I think a command room, much like the one in the Moff Gideon cruise, would probably work. A barracks would be great, and, you know, you could even have a little area for clones to just chill, maybe little walkers or whatever, would be all cool and dandy. Now, the figures I have listed here, and these are not necessarily what they do, you know, it's all up to speculation, but I put Emperor Palpatine, or Chancellor Palpatine, a new version of him, which we have not gotten in a long time, Grandmaster Yoda, I feel like that makes a ton of sense, a Phase 1 Clone Trooper Captain, and a 2 Phase 1 clones, and possibly even a clone officer if we're pushing our luck. Obviously, this would be a great capital ship. Every year we usually average about 1 capital ship type set, and I feel like this one would be perfect for this year. Now, next up, we have one at actually $29.99, and I have a Corporate Alliance tank droid. Now, these are the snail tanks, obviously. We have not gotten one since 2013, so it has been quite a while. By the time of 2022, it will have been 9 years, which is a very long time to wait for a new set. And, you know, I have the figures down for here as a Clone Trooper Phase 1 Lieutenant, a Geonosian minifigure, and a B1 Battle Droid, probably in the dark orange type. You could also, again, theoretically throw in Jango, but we got Jango in the last one, and I don't think LEGO would do that, because I also have another set idea later on in this list, and we'll get into that in a second. But first up, next, we have at $99.99 an ATTE. Now, the last ATTE we got was the Captain Rex's ATTE, and that was arguably not an ATTE. And the last real one we got was back in 2013. Again, as of the time of this coming out, it will have been 9 years since the last one was out, which is insane, and obviously this will be a Geonosis themed one too. Now, I have predicted for this a Ki-Adi-Mundi minifigure, a Clone Trooper tank pilot, or, you know, whatever those look like, I don't know, just some yellow Clone Trooper, a Clone Trooper Sergeant, the green ones, and then a Phase 1 Clone Trooper, and 2 B1 droids. Now, I also have a possibility for this Coleman Trevor. I'd like to see Coleman Trevor on here. I just think that would be great, because because I like Coleman Trevor. But yeah, I want to throw that out there. Now, next up, we have at $349.99 a Geonosis Petronaki Arena. Now, I know this sounds wild and absolutely insane, but I think this is perfect. Now, first off, it is, again, the Attack of the Clones anniversary, so, you know, that elevates its chances more, but even beyond that, I feel like with the possibility of a Master Builder series set being very high, there's only 2 of these that are possible to come out, so I'm going to list both of the ideas on this list, so this is the first one. Now, first off, like, Republic Bricks actually recently did a really good model of this. Like, I think LEGO would nearly do something that's like this. But it would come with, you know, like, the Obi-Wan interrogation scene. In this model you see here, you know, you could have, like, the Separatist planning table with the Death Star plans. You have, like, that as a brick in there. And then you could also, on another back wall, have, like, Yoda versus Count Dooku, that big scene. We had a whole set for that. And I think that would be a well-integrated thing you could see in this set. And then, obviously, you do have that full main wall that all the Geonosians can spectate from, the battle. And, you know, you could have, like, the little area where Count Dooku and Jango and all them stand. And then, you know, it could come with those poles that Padme and Anakin and Obi-Wan were attached to. And then you could also, you know, see, like, builds, like mini droidkas. And then even builds or even possibly molds of the characters like the Reek, Nexu, and Acklay. Those are the 3 creatures that were released into that battle. Now, get ready for this figure selection because these sets on average have 22 minifigures. And I thought this is just going to be, like, the coolest minifigure selection ever. It's totally out there. If LEGO did this would probably be close to what they do. But, you know, let's just list it. Now, first up, I have Anakin Skywalker, obviously in his Episode 2 appearance, probably with a green lightsaber. Next up, we would have Obi-Wan Kenobi, obviously a must-have inclusion. Padme Amidala, a Jango Fett, which we have not gotten in a while, as well as Count Dooku, which will have been the first Count Dooku in a number of years, since, again, 2013. Then after that, we'd obviously have young Boba Fett and Mace Windu. We'd have Poggle the Lesser, Master Yoda, Wat Tambor, I think would be the great Separatist general to have there. We've gotten new Gunrays before, and I think this would be a great time for the first time to see him. And, you know, just a nice inclusion as an exclusive figure. Next up, we'd have Kit Fisto, because he is iconic for his smile in this battle. 2 B2 battle droids, the heavy dark gray droids. We have not seen them in quite a while in LEGO. Again, probably since 2014. It's been insane. As well as 2 B1 Geonosis droids, and one of them I think we'd actually have as the C-3PO head. I'd love to see that. That would be great. Maybe you could have another one with C-3PO's body and a battle droid head. Then obviously R2-D2, 2 Geonosians, and 3 plain Phase 1 Clone Troopers. Obviously all in the new Clone Trooper design from the UCS gunship. Now my next set idea is a Master Builder Series Yavin at $349.99. Now why Yavin, you ask? Obviously Yavin is a pretty iconic thing, the only real like Master Builder Series style set that has not been made in like official LEGO. So again, they could totally just go and do a new Ewok village or something along those lines. But I'm just going purely off of what they have not done, and this I feel like would make a ton of sense if they want to be boring and not do prequels. But this would still be cool too. I wouldn't really complain if they did that. Now first off, you know, a lot of these sets come with smaller builds. With the other one you had loads of small builds, so I wanted to throw these out here. But you'd probably get some sort of small X-Wing Starfighter because those were pretty prominent on Yavin, as well as maybe a little troop transport speeder to drive troops around Yavin. And, you know, you could get rooms, like a command room, like where Mon Mothma chills in Rogue One. You get the hangar, obviously do fit the X-Wing, and I think this ceremony room would also be great. We've obviously gotten a model for this type of set before. Now, the minifigures are as follows. We would get Luke Skywalker in his yellow jacket ceremony appearance, and I guess you could have a second Luke Skywalker if you want with his pilot appearance. We would get Princess Leia in her celebration attire. Obviously, that would make sense because at the end, she wears that whole getup, as well as Han Solo with his medal. We would see Chewbacca, C-3PO, R2-D2, Mon Mothma, and Admiral Akbar. I know they were not in Episode 4, but it is still, like, I feel like it would just be a no-brainer to throw them in. Wedge Antilles would obviously be a must. I'd love to see him, and maybe even 2 more pilots. I think you could do, like, Biggs and Porkins. I think those are probably the most popular ones, and you could even see, like, Dutch Van Der or something. And then 3 Rebel soldiers from the, like, Tantive 4 style soldier, 2 Rebel Honor Guards, which I guess would be exclusive to this set, and I wouldn't mind. 2 technicians to work in the hangar bays on X-Wings and stuff. A reuse of the General Dodonna minifigure that we got this year, which I think would be fine. And then we could also see characters possibly like Harrison Dula or Bail Organa, who are obviously pretty prominent, and I'd love to see a new rendition of, and granted it wouldn't be canon to this particular time in Star Wars, but it would still be really cool. Now, if they decide to be boring and go with another ship like UCS Big C2C set next year, then what they could likely do is some sort of Darth Vader's TIE Advanced, as well as possibly, just possibly, even a Nebulon B. Now, if they were to go with some sort of special UCS type set and not a Master Builder Series set this next summer, which is possible, I don't think it's that possible, but it could happen. I think the set would likely be the Nebulon B from Episode 5. Now, this would obviously be a UCS model, probably $350. I don't see how they could really do it for anything less than that. Obviously, the figures would be Lando, Chewie, Luke, Leia, 3PO, R2, and a medical droid. I feel like that just makes a ton of sense. You get like the little Falcon build under it, and just like an all-around cool little scene. Obviously, a very famous set, and we did get alluded to by LEGO that they will be made at some point in the future during the gunship vote. So I feel like that would be probably the most appropriate. With the UCS AT-AT and all the Hoth stuff coming out recently, I feel like that would make the most sense out of everything for Hoth-related UCS sets that they haven't done yet. And yeah, so with that said, I am going to ask you all to smash the like button. I would really appreciate it. It would mean the world to me. And with that said, I will see you guys all in the next one. Remember to peace out and stay awesome.